you listen to. Now, the pandemic has seen a surge in charitable ventures. I've spoken to people running, rowing, climbing, walking, singing, you name it, for charity. Today, my guest is Jack Gatacre, and he's planning a 700-mile kayak, as you do, around Scotland next month, raising money for the Fisherman's Mission. But before he embarks on that challenge, he set himself another, and he joins me now on the line to talk about that. Hello, Jack.
Hello.
Lovely to speak to you. Now, tell me what you're going to be doing on Monday.
Yes, so on Monday, 13th of July, I'm attempting a 70-mile kayak crossing from Ventnor on the Isle of Wight over to Cherbourg in France. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to be quite tough because it's 70 miles, so it'll take 14 to 18 hours. Plus, you have tide going left and right that'll sort of add to distance and make an S-shape. And I'm doing it because it'll be a great adventure. It'll be really interesting to go and see that sea crossing and cross over to France. Good training for my trip to the Fisherman's Mission later next month as well. So that's the idea behind it, yeah.
Well, extraordinary. It sounds like a deeply physical challenge. Tell me the sort of preparation that you've been doing.
Yes, so I was very fortunate, which is I got furloughed for a couple of months up until the middle of June, so I just did a lot of kayaking. So I went over to East Sussex and back. I went to see a friend. I went to the Isle of Wight a few times. I went over to West Devon. I've done quite a lot of sort of practice trips on some big crossings, but only 10 or 12 miles out. So I thought, well, this would be really good because this is going to be longer than I'd need to do each day, but going to be really interesting going across. I've never done such a big crossing, so I thought it was a great opportunity and get some training in, get some publicity in, and go from there, yeah.
What about the channel, though? Because isn't that supposed to be terribly busy and ever so slightly dangerous, Jack?
I know it's dangerous. Well, it is dangerous, but not if you take certain precautions. So the precautions that I'm taking are, firstly, I'm not doing this sort of on my own. I've got a safety boat in the form of a fishing charter from a man called Glenn from Valkyrie Charters. He's going to be in front of me, and we'll be on radio communication regularly. And behind us will be a RIB, so a motorboat behind as well. And then they'll coordinate with the Coast Guard and the shipping traffic, and we'll adapt our route accordingly, and they'll coordinate with me. So I'm looked after in that sense. And also, if the wind is too strong, we'll have to do it another time as well. But it's due to be quite calm wind, so hopefully
I was going to say, I've just been looking at the weather for Monday, and it looks okay. How will this compare to the challenge that you've set yourself to kayak around Scotland? Because that's a very different, 70 miles versus 700 miles.
That's it. It's a different challenge. So this is, on that challenge, we're going to need to do about 50 miles a day, so 45, 50 miles of kayaking a day, and this is going to be 70 to 80. So it's obviously a lot more sort of than our average day that we'll need to encounter, but it's obviously only a one-off. I mean, it's one day rather than 15 or 16 in a row. So it's a different sort of stamina and preparation. This one also, I've obviously got the safety cover, whereas the trip in Scotland, I don't. I'm doing it with a friend, but we're just on kayaks on our own. So it'll be a different thing. But yeah, it should be really beautiful. Then this is more exposed because we're crossing the whole ocean, whereas that is going to be maybe some small crossings, but not, nothing 70 miles out or whatever. So yeah, it should be really good.
Okay, and how many calories, just out of personal interest, how many calories do you get to eat every day if you're doing this sort of thing?
Well, I mean, the thing is, normally in the week I'm at work, so I don't, I've got to not eat too much because I'm just driving around and, I'm a travelling salesman, so I can't eat too much. But then on these, you burn through a lot. You probably burn through 500 calories an hour or something, and it's 18 hours, so you're just eating all the time. Every 2 or 3 hours you really need to eat something again. So yeah.
See, that's the sort of thing that might tempt me to get in a kayak and do a challenge myself. I've got to stop saying this sort of thing, and this is how I ended up doing the Couch to 5K. So I retract that statement immediately.
Well, I'd have to invite you on the Monday if you can get a day off then.
I'm working. Jack, just tell me a little bit about why you've chosen the Fisherman's Mission to support.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so the Fisherman's Mission was inspired. My girlfriend's father was a fisherman for 50 years, and he just retired last autumn, sort of quite quietly. So we thought we'd make a sort of, make a thing of him, obviously, and everything he's achieved, but also the fishing community generally across Great Britain, particularly. It's a big part of life in Fife, where he used to fish, and still is, but sadly not as much as it once was. So I thought raise awareness of that and look after a lot of fishermen who, particularly this year, like a lot of people, have had a very difficult year, unfortunately. Yeah.
So you're making a difference.
Well, I hope so, yes. I'm raising money for them, so I hope to. I mean, in case your listeners don't know what the Fisherman's Mission sort of is all about, they're obviously helping fishermen, but what they particularly do is they provide a sort of a safety lifeboat sort of service if they get caught in storms, which usually happens at sea. They help them if they get injured. They'll provide them some money to sort of not to work because they're unable to work if they have some serious injury. They'll advise them about which sort of NHS care to access, I suppose, and go how to get that and in the best way. They'll sell them safety gear at a very discounted price that's more useful for them. They'll help them, give them advice about how to sell their produce as well in a very changing market all the time. So yeah, lots of different advice that they offer and support. And if fishermen have financial difficulties, they can go through their accounts and say, oh, this is where you might be going wrong or whatever. So they help in a lot of different ways.
Well, it sounds like a worthy cause indeed. Jack, we wish you well, and do let us know how you get on, and perhaps we'll talk to you before you head off to Scotland as well. That'd be great.
Yeah, I will. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, is it possible to give the link to you? Or?
Yes, please do. Give us your link.
Yeah, that's really, really kind of you. Thank you. So my link is www.justgiving.com/fundraising _JACK_GATACRE1. And also, I've made a website in case anybody's interested as well. And it's the numbers 700, and then it's milekayaklatofscotland.com. 700 mile Scotland.com. So I'll put lots of pictures and videos and that sort of thing up from training in case anyone's sort of curious or amused by that. And I'll be doing that for the French trip as well.
Well, I'm already curious. Jack, thank you so much for joining us here on BBC Radio Solent. We wish you well with your trip on Monday. That was Jack Gatacre, and if you are interested in his journey, it's 700mile kayak lapofscotland.com.
BBC Radio